Welcome to another episode of Bargman Saturdays, and this week I decided to take a look at Caroline and the Magic Potion. And I'll admit, this opening bit's mostly gonna be an open letter to Saber Spark and some others that have argued that this is a Coraline ripoff. Because my position is this doesn't count as one. Mostly because, by Saber Spark's own admission, this is not the original title of this movie. The original title is Witches, or assuming the Portugal or Spanish versions came out first, Witchcraft. So this whole choice of name, Caroline and the Magic Potion, was done by the English distributor. For most obviously, reason being to cash in on Coraline. Maybe thinking people might think there was some sort of sequel or something like, oh, it's Caroline and the Magic Potion, it must be a sequel to Coraline, so let's pick this up, because it's in the cheap bin. Because the English distributor does not have to necessarily be, really honest about what they picked up. I mean, just look at Phase 4 Films when they decided to do the English distribution for The Legend of Cyril into the United States. And they changed the name to Frozen Land, ripped off Disney's, font style basically for Frozen, and then copied the box art design as well, which led to a lawsuit between Disney and Phase 4 Films. Not the people that made the movie, between the Disney and the U.S. distributor. So, yeah. My position is whoever picked up the rights to the English version of this film and distribute the film, into the United States and United Kingdom, they're the ones that wanted to make this film look like a knockoff, in order to make more money off of it. Because they probably picked up the rights on the cheap, then slapped in a cheaply done English dub, considering how bad the lip syncing stuff is in this movie. And then, we're just trying to, bank on people being suckered into thinking this was some sort of Coraline sequel. Which some people have admitted they thought it was, so I guess it did work to a certain extent. I don't know how people make that, mistake, considering the look of the film, there's images on the back of the box, but some people don't, I guess, think to check that stuff? I don't know why. Or they bought it online where they couldn't see as many photos. Maybe. But yeah, if your only argument, is look at the box art and title, it ain't good enough for me. And then they're like, well, what about the character design? Like, well, so it's a witch, with a long nose. That seems kind of like a stereotype for them. And if you're gonna tell me it's just because she has dark hair, like Coraline does, I'm like, well, what about Violet from The Incredibles then? Is she a knockoff of Coraline too? Like, that's not a good argument. If you want to call this a knockoff, then does it share a lot of plot elements with Coraline? And the answer is no. Like not at all. So, yeah, this is a movie that got the English distributor, special being made over into a apparent knockoff, while not actually being a knockoff. So, yeah. I know we spent 3 minutes talking about that, but I just feel like sharing my feelings on that. As far as the film itself goes, well, your enjoyment's going to be how much you enjoy watching this hot mess of a film play, because you got bad lip syncing, you got bad dialogue, you've got annoying characters with 3 snails who basically spend their time trying to be annoying and adding their own commentary onto the film, which admittedly I found rather enjoyable, but I suppose that's because, I'd be some weirdo that actually would like the Minions. Then again, I haven't watched Despicable Me, but considering I like these slugs that everyone complained about, for being like the Minions, I guess I'd probably enjoy those too. So yeah, this film is just awful on a technical level. Everything, like they tried going with a lower frame rate, no frame rate, to make the film look like it's stop motion despite being CGI. The character models are less than impressive, to say the least. Even in comparison to some other cheap stuff I've seen made from around the same time. So yeah, there's nothing about this film, that's good, but it's such an awful mess it can be fun to watch anyway just because of how bad it is. But you gotta be the kind of person that enjoys, movies of a certain level of awfulness. I mean, sometimes they can go too far for you and they're just painful to sit through. Or they don't go far enough, so you're like, it doesn't manage to curve back around, and it's also terrible to sit through. So, watch this one at your own risk. You're either going to have fun with it, maybe you should get your friends together and take a shot or something every time something dumb happens. Like, if they have a scene where they start spinning, the main character's granny around while applying a truth serum to her, while complaining about, how they can't, break her mind, yet they have mind-controlling devices that they don't use on her until near the very end of the movie, only to put on an ear where she can't hear out, so it doesn't work on her anyway. But yeah, there's definitely, these massive plot holes you could drive a semi-truck through in this film. Because it's like, why are you wasting all this time, on the truth serum when you can just, pop an earpiece that can mind control her and just tell her to give you the recipe. And then there's other, aspects of the film that are just painful to figure out. Like, why is this apparent little girl run this, multi-billion-dollar company? Or million company worth millions, apparently, maybe. Maybe it's worth billions, I don't know. But it definitely gets a lot of lawsuits for pollution and all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, I don't know if she is meant to be a kid, and her mother, just lets her get away with running the company because reasons. I honestly don't know. Apparently her mom's obsessed with poker. I don't get it. Then she also has a scene where she applies like this spray that shrinks her boobs and butt, and I don't know why that spray exists at all. Seems counterintuitive considering how most people write movies like this, where they constantly seem to obsess with, female characters wanting a bigger chest. Though I suppose one could argue that's a nice reversal of things, instead, since it feels less like a man wrote it that way. And actually, I know from watching Saberspark's video that a female author apparently wrote the script, so maybe that makes a bit more sense that way. But yeah, like I said, this is something to watch at your own peril. You'll either laugh while you're watching it quite a bit, or you'll be bored out of your mind being tortured by it. So yeah, it may be poison or it may not be. Till next time, then. See ya.
Those things are really weird.
I know, they're really annoying. They follow me wherever I go, and I just can't get rid of them.
Ah!
Guys, knock it off, will you?